Welcome to. I'm sorry, I'm not that normally that enthusiastic. I was just doing that to fuck with you.
Wow, bro, let's go. Welcome. I was like, okay.
No. This is This is my Ravnican D&D session 0, number 4, featuring Andrew and his beautifully crafted character. Input prompt 2 for you to describe your character.
Oh, yeah. So I have a male satyr. I forgot how old I am.
If at any point during this video I say satire, I mean satyr.
Yes, he's a little bit older. He's about 150. He's a male, brown, kind of your average satyr looking guy. Couple of things that he has is like his horns are really well decorated and nice. He's got like, he always taking care of them and stuff. Um, yeah, he's 5'10", jumps around, loves to party.
Yeah. Well, he
Yeah,
loves
that's
to
about it.
party, and we've been working on his backstory together. So, from the way we wanted to work on your semi-tragic hero backstory is that you've always loved to party, but you especially found a dryad that you liked, which we have named a Laurel.
Yes.
And let's just say during one of your attempts to gather booze for a party, you unknowingly, because your character will go do just about everything at a party. You're pretty neutral. You unknowingly help some bandits rob some merchants, and when the bandits' fortress was raided, it happened to be in the same forest Laurel's tree was in. And when you returned from your party to visit Laurel, the forest had been slightly burned down, and well, so was Laurel's tree. So you kind of blame yourself for the event, and you go on a lifelong adventure of drugs and party, because how else are you going to get rid of your insatiable guilt of accidentally killing your wife by wanting to party, then to party?
Oh, Laurel, no. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, there we go. How'd you like that? That was what I was coming up with for your character.
I like it.
You like it? Because I was like,
Yeah.
that was a situation where you helped some bandits, and that particular caravan caused people to take notice of the bandits. They went and cleared them out, but accidentally started a forest fire. And if the dryad's tree goes, the dryad goes with it.
All right, I'm digging it.
So there you go. And you slightly blame yourself, because if you didn't help them bandits, they probably wouldn't have been as well known as they were.
Probably. So sad.
Yep. So that's your like, I'm gonna say that probably, since you're you're a satyr. I almost said satire. I almost said it already. I'm gonna say that you were probably a little higher level than level 2. That'll probably put you about level 3, level 4-ish. And you go on your drunken rampage quest throughout. By the way, this guy is from Theros. For anyone who's a magic buff listening in on this, so he goes on his quest throughout Theros for drink, wine, and drugs and good party. And he joins adventuring groups just to go get more wine and alcohol.
Have fun and forget about my guilt.
Yep. So we're gonna fast forward, accelerate this process, get some speed. You're about level 7 now, and you hear of a nice, awesome party over near a cliff, and you're like, yes, this party's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, my good fellow adventurer drinks the finest of wines, gets the drunkest of possible drunk that he can be, and decides to do some party favors, or some party tricks. One of them, which is balancing out on this tree that happens to extend off over the cliff. Well, he's got hooves, so he doesn't balance very well.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what you're talking about? Goat's balance, best balance.
Yes.
Yeah, except for when you're blackout drunk and high off your ass.
Probably.
Probably. Everyone's also drunk and high off their ass, so when you fall, eventually everyone's just like, oh no! Sucks to be him, man. Harsh and my mellow over here.
Oh, bro.
But It's this sobering experience and jarring, almost near death that causes you to next while you're there, you're like, man, well, at least I'm drunk off my ass. And then next thing you know, you feel like you've been electrocuted, like a spark or a jolt been zapped through you. And well, you're already moving fast, but you feel like you're moving a bit faster. And you you come you come to a little bit, or not really a bit. Next thing you know, you're right above what looks like another party, completely different from one you've been to. As you slam into what looks like a table, and it hurts, and you kind of pass out afterwards. um, a few days later, let's not say a few days later. The next thing you do, you wake up and you are sober, super sober, and slightly bandaged, and appear to be laying in a bed in a very hard to describe for. Well, no, you would understand a little bit. It would be a house, but the wood looks like almost like it's almost like the tree the house is centered around, because there's like a huge tree in the middle of the house, and this house seems to be almost like it grew out of the tree, like it was shaped, and like all the furniture is very environmental friendly. It's like a tree hugger would live here.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, and there's about it just seems to be, I guess, what you would call a guest room. You're in here alone. There's a door and there's a nice window over to the side. You don't have any of your combat equipment on you, but you are wearing your small clothes.
Okay. As a first thing I would do is blink up and look around. This is probably not the first time I've woken up in a random house or place.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna look for someone. Is anybody in the room with me?
There's no one currently in the room with you. There's a bookcase over on the corner with some nice different tomes and books. There appears to be a chair and a table next to the bookcase. Looks like whoever normally, if they use this room, they use it to sit and read. There's not much else in here. You do find it kind of interesting. The light source seems to be made out of well, it's a glowing mushroom in a potted plant on the next to on the desk over near the chair.
So I'm gonna get up, kind of pat myself down, see what I have and what I'm missing.
Well, like I said, you got your small clothes on. You got, I guess, your pretty much all of your gear aside from your combat equipment seems to be laying in the chair.
Okay, I'll pick up my loot, give it a couple strums, make sure it's still good, maybe tune it a little bit, kind of look around, fiddle with the books, like pick one up, pretend to look at it to read, kind of put it back because I don't really care about reading.
Oh, okay. You don't even attempt to look and see what the script is, or
if it has a picture on the outside, I'll look at that. But
oh, okay.
Do any of them have pictures on like the outside?
Oh, there's a couple have some pictures. Well, one of them's got a nice, looks like a tree with a communion on it. And there'll probably be one that this particular household. There'll probably be one with like flowering guides, for like people who, I guess, own flower shops. I don't know if there's that word for it. There's a word for it where they're like people, tend to the flowers, something like that. But it's not quite horticulture. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's where people prune flowers and make sure that they stay nice and pristine. And
it's a gardening book.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. But these are only the pictures. I don't know. You didn't ask me about the script, so.
Well, I'll look at the picture of the pretty flowers and kind of open it up and see what it says.
Well, you don't understand anything written in the script. It's written in a script you don't understand.
I'll flip through the book and find what I assume to be is the best looking flower, and I'm just gonna quietly
Now,
tear
you
that
are
page out.
looking through this gardening book. You are noticing that you've never seen half of these flowers before. These are all strange, exotic flowers you've never heard of or seen. Well, I mean, you can't read it, so you don't know what the names are. There are a couple that you recognize, but for the most part, a lot of these are very different.
Alright. I'm just gonna like kind of flip through and find a picture of like a very colorful flower.
You find
Decide I
this
like it.
one that appears to have a rainbow hue to it, and it seems to be similar to a lotus.
Oh, nice, nice. I'm gonna take that page with me just because I like it.
Sounds good.
I'll put the book back, make sure nobody saw me take it.
Sounds
Alright.
good.
I'm
Did
gonna go
you?
start mess. What's up?
Oh no, that's good. That's all right. Put the book back.
Okay. I'm gonna go mess with the mushroom a little bit that's glowing. Like tap on it, see what it does.
Well,
You
if you
know, if
tap
you
on the
touch it.
mushroom, it's soft to touch. It's like a soft mushroom, but it's glowing. You have at least a little residue on your hand that glows.
Okay. I'm gonna wonder how do I turn this thing off? Hmm. I'm gonna like pick it up and see what happens if I like tear off a little piece.
Well, you tear off a little piece. You see the inside of the mushroom is not glowing. So apparently, this residue on the top is the only thing that glows.
Okay. Can I smell the mushroom?
Yes, it smells. I don't know. I don't. What
Like
does a
mushrooms?
mushroom in a dirt smell like?
I'm there with you. Like
I
dirt and
mean,
mushrooms?
yeah. I mean, like I don't know. Like in character, out of character, I can't tell you. It smells like it's not a poisonous mushroom, so I can't be like, oh, you smell acid and then die. I mean, no, it's decent.
Okay.
It you know.
Alright. And I don't recognize the mushroom at
Oh
all or
no,
the
you don't know. I
glowiness?
have no idea what this mushroom is. You've never seen this one of the bitch before. I'm assuming that's why you were picking up and looking at
Yeah. I'm
it.
gonna I'm gonna take little chunks I have of the mushroom and I'm gonna try and put it in my pocket and then slowly start making my way out.
All right.
As
So
I
like I
open the
said,
door, I'll be like,
there's a window. It seems to be a really ornate window. Like uh, you said there's also a door, but the door is ornate. Or the window's ornate. Where like you know those windows that are like where the window panes are like an intricate pattern.
okay.
Yeah. So it's an intricate pattern of like this tree
Uh,
and like the little glass panes in between it. And then the
okay.
door, of course, off to the right. The door.
Alright. So before I go through the door, I'll look through the window, see what kind of town I ended up in.
Um,
Uh,
you're at a loss for words looking out the window. You look out the window, and apparently, this is not the only tree house, as if I so humbly described it earlier, where houses appear to be grow or the instead of grooming the tree to the houses are groomed to the tree. Does that make sense?
okay.
So like if the you can see like a sidewalk where like a tree would be in the ground, the sidewalk is built around the tree.
Okay. Okay.
And there's various people you can see walking around down there. From where you're at, you see humans and elves mostly. You do catch a few centaur, which throw you off. And then like there is just a bunch of these like tree houses, and like it's like basically like a bustling little city center of well tree houses.
I can't. Are there like any story of tree houses on Theros that I know of?
As far as Theros goes, I don't think that they've ever. They don't. I don't think they have like treehouse like that. Because like, for the closest thing to what you would probably. Oh, man, I don't even think they have elves on Theros. To be honest with you.
I know they have centaurs, but I'm not sure about elves on Theros.
Yeah. Well, the centaurs on Theros are very militia, and would be like, wearing full plate armor and you know would
Right.
normally be seen in a city near a forge, basically, in Theros, because they follow the god Iroas,
Okay.
which is the martial god. He's a centaur himself.
Mhm.
So
All right. All right. And these are much friendlier looking centaur.
yeah, for the most part, you do see well, there are guards walking around. You see a couple wearing full plate armor. They all have this. Someone's calling me. Someone's calling me. Can't tell right now. All right. They have this. They're wearing like this bluish or whitish plate armor with a green tree on the chest plate. Or if the armor's blue, it'd be white tree. They're wearing green or white armor, it'd be a green tree. Some of them have green armor and they have another white tree in the center. It just kind of depends on what whatever color would clash less with the armor.
Nice. Whatever stands out against the background. Then.
Yeah.
All right. This is kind of interesting. I wonder what side of Theros I'm on. Must be across the lake or something. So I'll go to the door, open it, and just kind of call out, "Hello,
Hello.
hello,
Hello.
Bruh. Anyone home?"
Anyone home?
Is that just an echo?
You hear if you're listening, you hear it seems to be a commotion downstairs. I don't know how loud are you being like hello? Are you just being kind of like normal volume, or are you like screaming it?
Normal volume right now.
Oh, okay. Well, whoever's downstairs doesn't seem to be hear you, but it seems to be you can you hear like clinking of like plates and stuff. Apparently, whoever's downstairs seems to be in a dinner. There's commotion downstairs, like hear chattering. Can't quite make out what's being said.
Do I smell food?
Yes, you smell food. Now that you've opened the door and are at the stairwell that rotates around the base of the tree going down.
All right, man. I'm gonna head down there because there's people and there's food, man.
Sounds good. So you get to the as you're walking down the staircase, you notice more rooms, which you assume are for the house, and there are little paintings hanging on the tree, which again, like instead of like them nailing the paintings to the wall, it seems like where the tree had like a little piece of bark, or like a limb pointing out, they hung the pictures on the limbs. So
Nice.
instead of nailing into the tree, they hung the pictures where the tree would sprout out. And you notice that these pictures are, man, they're pretty. They're like almost lifelike, but they are made with paint, from what you could tell.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What's on the picture? Just tree shit?
For
Or is it
this
like
one,
other creatures?
for this one, it seems to be a family of dark-skinned humanoids, or what you hear humans. And it's like great grandfather, grandfather and stuff like that going down as you go, and the grandmother and the children.
Okay. How many people are in the picture, ish?
Oh well, the one you're currently looking at seems to be 3. There's a gentleman about his mid-20s. There's an older. There's another lady near close to the room. You could probably guess her mid or early 30s. And there's a really young gentleman. He's probably still in his teens, not quite yet, man.
All right, I will head downstairs to go see him.
All right, when you get around to the bottom of the stairs, the commotion's coming off to the right into what looks like a dining room. As you get to the bottom of the stairs, no one's quite noticed you yet, but as you look across the dining table, you notice a mix of elves and humans. And I need to pull up this because I remember the version. The elves, you could probably here's the problem. I don't remember if elves are on Theros. Let's just say for the hell of it, they're elves on Theros because I don't feel like going and checking.
I feel like there are.
I feel like there are too, so I'm not gonna do it. These resemble wood elves, so they have more of a tannish color skin, and tend to be on the shorter side, or at least what you would assume are wood elves. And it seems to be the darker skinned humans also down here. And you do recognize one of them is the middle-aged gentleman in his 20s, sitting at the head of the table with in a vibrant like gown, a robe, like a ceremonial robe. And then to the next of him is a female wood elf in a similar ceremonial garb, but obviously made for a female. And his is made obviously for a male.
And you said these were both humanoid-looking people or
Well,
elven-looking
the
people?
dark skinned human. He's a human. He's basically
Okay.
dark skinned, so he's a black guy. And
Okay.
and then a wood elf, which are tan skinned elves that live in the woods. And then the table down the wood elf side are all wood elves. The table down the human side are all pretty much human.
All right. And then I'll come in and just be like, "Hey guys, how's it going?
And then yeah, they're gonna or
thanks for letting me crash here. Crazy party, huh, man?
the the groom or well, you don't know they're your groom and bride yet, but there's two people in the ceremonial robes look up at you and go, "Yes, you crashed the." They're like, "Ah, you're awake," and then the girl next to him finishes sentences says, "Yes, you crashed the rehearsal party. It was quite amusing."
Rehearsal.
Yes,
What's
me
this
and
like a play, man?
like no, me and my bride are getting married today, and well, 3 days ago you pretty much fell right on top of us our rehearsal.
Oh man, I love weddings, dude. So like, that's a sign, man. Like, we're gonna have some fun. How long you guys two been married now?
It's like, no, we're being married. Well, officially, we'll be joined today, later on. Like,
Ah,
before we've been together for a few years now.
ah, could do. By the way, my name is Gnat. Some people call me Nat. My
Ah,
parents call me Natius.
he's like,
Something or other the third.
my name is Jamal Sunbark, and then the girl next to her says, my name is Sukira. Soon I'll also be a Sunbark.
You said Shakira, bro?
Sukira.
I like Shakira. That's a good name.
I didn't want to go flirt on with the Shakira, so I.
Sounds like your hips don't lie.
She definitely has a few curves for Wood Elf. Yeah. A little less angular than you remember Wood Elves being. And he's like, "Ah, but yes, you can join us most definitely. Come, we saved you a seat." And you've noticed there's actually an empty seat at the table. Sit, enjoy.
Oh, heck yeah. What kind of food is this?
Well, again, just like earlier when you were looking through those books of plants, you don't recognize a lot of things. You see that you could definitely clearly see that there's vegetables and there's vegetables here. There's some meat. There's not a heavy emphasis on meat. There are two main courses of meat at the table. There's lots of vegetables and fruits. There are a few fruits you recognize, like grapes. But there seem to be there's some that are different color than you've ever seen. Like these are clearly grapes, but you've never seen a grape like that. I don't know. It's a weird color for a grape. A yellow grape? That would be a weird color for a grape. There you go. Yellow grapes, but they clearly look like grapes. And then, like I said, there's just a bunch of mixture of vegetables. The meats, you can tell, you see one of them seems to be some form of like almost like you would consider a bovine kind of beef kind of like creature.
Okay.
But, and the other one seems to be some form of poultry.
No goat-like creature.
But no goat-like creature. But from what you can tell, you can't quite. You're like, I don't know what that is, but that looks like poultry, or I can't tell quite what that is, but it looks like beef.
Does everybody else have like food on their plate
Oh
already?
yeah, everyone's already eating.
All right.
Yeah.
I gotta kind of look around, see what everybody else is grabbing, and just start like reaching out, put it on my plate.
Oh, everything's very well done. It's I mean, even though this stuff is weird, it tastes great, and they ask you what would you rather have, wine or wine or juice. Yeah, as if I didn't know the answer to that question before I asked it.
Is it jungle juice?
No, it seems to be a non-alcoholic juice for the younger ones at the table.
I'm a big kid. I'll take the wine, please.
All right,
Thank
sounds
you.
good.
So I'm like, person's like, so where am I?
Ah, well, you're with the Silenzia. You're in the Silenzia Conclave. I'm quite interested. I don't believe I've seen your species before.
That, you ain't never seen a satyr?
No, satyrs are not native to Ravnica. And I wouldn't have known I wouldn't have known what to do with you if I haven't been working with Aura over the last few weeks.
Uh, who?
Aura is an Azorius representative that works with us, Linzias. She's a half elf, and it, right now is the time for party. We'll discuss business matters after the wedding.
All right, all right, all right. Let's go. You said my favorite words. Party.
Yes. So
Is
he clearly has more information to give you, but he's it's his wedding day. He's not trying to worry about business right now.
all right. I'm going to sit there and have a blast,
And
eating and
I
talking.
could give you like names, but every other character aside from Jamal and Sukira are not important. So
Mm-hmm.
like, James, Bob, Billy, Jessica, just names back and forth, okay? You meet all the family
Okay.
and you find out embarrassing family secrets about Jamal and Sukira,
Oh, nice.
you know. Basically you're being treated as one of the family right now.
Oh, nice, nice.
It's at this point when y'all are pretty much done with the main course. Um Sukira and Jamal are like, "Oh yes, now for dessert." And so people come out of the kitchen. It's appear to be, I guess you could say, they're servants. They appear to be well dressed and maintained, obviously. So it's not like they treat their servants badly. I wanted to put it that way. It's like almost like they're part of the family, but they were just hired to cater to the wedding, to the food. And the last person to come out of what you assume is the kitchen with the dessert, while everyone else is taking the trays of food and stuff back to the kitchen, is a dryad. And this dryad looks like 92% like a Laurel. And I mean, like, the only difference is probably like her hairstyle and color.
I will, if I'm not currently stuffing my face, I'll just like kind of drop my food and just like stare at her as she's. Is she serving?
Yeah, she's serving. Well, it looks like they brought out a large pie. And I say a large pie, I mean it's quite large, so that everyone at the table could have some.
Uh, if she comes near me,
Yeah,
I will.
she cuts everyone a piece. Of course, gives the bride and groom theirs first, and then rotates around to everyone. And since you're at the end of the table, she gets to you last. She's like,
I will.
would you like any ice cream with yours?
I will do the thing where you lick your pointer finger and your pinky and like do my eyebrows real quick, make sure they're looking nice and
Uh huh.
fly, and be like, "Yo, what tree you grow out of?
Well, this one.
Th- this one right here?
Yes, yes. And you
Oh,
realize that the house that their house is in is her tree.
oh, oh wow! I'm already invited into your house. How friendly."
Well, this as much as my house, it is Jamal's and Sakira's.
I'll skip out on the ice cream because you're sweet enough for both of us.
Oh, well, aren't you the charmer? She blushes at that one.
Yes, yes.
She's like, my name is Zinnia, by the way.
Zinnia. Out of character, how do I spell that?
Zinnia.
Zinnia.
Yeah. I rotated through the thing until I found a name similar, and I was like, I'll just add an extra N or something like that. And I was like, there we go. It's my name now.
It's mine now. I was like, so how long you been here, Zinnia? You
Well, let's see. My tree was about 10 foot high, is what I think I spurned into creation. Now my tree is well over 100 feet. My tree's
Okay.
huge.
Okay.
She's like, so I've helped Jamal and Jamal's family has lived out of my tree for quite some time.
Oh yeah. You ever get out?
Well, yeah, I do. When I go to visit, the stalls and stuff around the the Selesnya stalls to buy stuff for here in the house. Since it is my tree, I kind of like to make it nice and clean and tidy things up around here.
So what you say? You give me the grand tour of Slesnia or whatever this place is called.
Uh, I can only take you to the edge of the Valencia Conclave. I can't get too far away from my tree, as you know.
Dryad stuff. I got you. I used to know someone who. Yeah, used to know someone.
Oh, there are very many dryads where you come from. You'll find many of them around here.
Oh yeah. Are any of them as lovely as you?
Not to toot my own horn, but not nearly of them are quite as well aged as I am.
Is there a Mr. Zinnia tree? I don't know how
No.
dryads work.
Well, out of character dryads. The only in like Greek mythology, and I don't know how Theros works, but in Greek mythology, the only times dryads can have non-female offspring is with a satyr and a satyr, and then the male offspring will be a satyr. If it's a female, it'll be a dryad.
All right, all right.
And in Ravnica, satyrs aren't native to Ravnica, so at this point, I'm going to assume that they can just have kids with whoever.
I
Because
assume dryads just sprung out of trees.
yeah, they're kind of like tree elementals. Honestly, they're part of
Mhm.
their tree. But in Ravnica, there's all sorts of like interspecies stuff going on. Like, so it wouldn't bother me because you have a guild like the Simic where they're just specialized in making abominations. So it is probably a half dryad on Ravnica, and if there's one, there's more than one.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that they can reproduce with other people, but for the most part, a natural born dryad is just basically a tree that gets to a mature enough age and has a certain amount of mana, and then dryad is spurned from the tree.
Okay. Oh,
But she's like, no. She's like, no one's quite caught my fancy in my time. Many people aren't keen on being tied to a tree.
sorry. Let me get it out. Baby, you could tie me to any tree you want.
She's like, oh. She's like, this isn't quite the place for that. She's like, come back after Aura has checked you in. We can certainly think of something to do.
Alright, I'll go find Aurora person.
Yeah.
You see me kind of perk my head up and look around real quick?
Oh, she's not here. She'll be at the wedding reception.
Okay. Is there music going on?
Yeah, there's not here in the kitchen, but outside you can hear Looks Movement music. But it's basically like a street performer from what you can tell basically outside. There's not in music in the house because they're all having dinner and stuff or well, it's not really dinner. I would call it lunch. It's lunchtime.
This is lunch? Wow, I thought we were at dinner.
No, this is lunch. This is before the wedding, so it's lunch.
Alright.
I was trying to mix it because it wouldn't make sense for it to be dinner. I think I said dinner when I first had them sit down, but they're gonna have their wedding afterwards, so it wouldn't make sense for it to be dinner. It might be lunch, and then they have their long wedding, and then their dinner reception.
Okay.
That makes more sense logically.
Yeah. But I'll go back to partying, not to be overly creepy on Zinnia. Won't be chasing her around the whole place. Let her do her thing.
Yeah. And,
But
and
I'll,
I'm assuming you're going to observe her more than you are going to pay attention to the party now.
yeah, she's gonna be in my periffs probably the whole time.
Yeah, you're just going to see that quite literally what she does is she basically is like the caretaker of the house, the household.
Mm.
She makes sure everything is clean and presentable. She yells at people for dragging their feet without scraping it on on the floor or on the carpet before exiting, leaving.
Okay, okay. Um,
You know,
yeah.
she makes people she gets people their coats for them when they're ready to leave. So yeah, this this little this pre-wedding thing happens for a little while, and then afterwards, the
Well,
uh, the bride and groom
sometimes.
get up and leave, or the groom and some of her family members and some of the groom's family members. You can see the females get up and leave first and head out, and then after about I would say about 20 minutes, the guys get up and then it's like, well, our friend Nat, if you will accompany us, it's time to head to the wedding hall.
All right. Do I get to sit on the bride or the groom side?
Well, you're a guy, so you'll be on the groom's side.
Oh, that's how we do it here. All right.
The
Digging
females,
it.
the females had already left, so
Giggity. Let's go.
they get there first so that she can change into her actual bridal outfit,
All right.
which I still haven't seen yet. I hope it fits her. Really, like I hope it does her justice.
Probably. Probably.
And then you get out. You basically have the guys train over to through the city after you walk out the front door, and yeah, these trees are fucking massive, and so are the tree houses that they're built into them. Now that you're outside in the actual the conclave from the looks of it, and
Nice.
yeah, you also notice among there that there appear to be there's also pixies flying around every now and then.
Oh, heck yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen a pixie.
Don't know if they're pixies in Theros or not, but you're small creatures with humanoids with wings, very small humanoids with wings.
Do they have like the trail of dust behind them like Tinkerbell?
A couple of them do, most of them don't. I guess you assume the ones that the trail are more flamboyant than the others, just from your first glance.
I am immediately impressed.
There's much more variety of elves. You do find some more centaurs, and there appear to be dryads walking around too, a lot more. And you're like, huh, that's a lot of dryads. And now you're kind of like, oh man, there's almost as many dryads as there are trees. So you're thinking that pretty much every single one of these trees here is a dryad.
Do they all look different?
Yes, they all look different depending on their tree.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, Xenia would be slightly green tinted skin or green tinted skin with carved like bark like almost like lattices in her skin, and then she would have like auburn or orangish brown hair, almost like it's autumn time for her.
Okay.
That's Xenia's description.
Is
She's
her
wearing
hair in a bun or an updo?
her hair would be in a braided ponytail.
All right.
Why? Because I like the braided ponytail better than I do the bun. It's just me personally. If you like the bun better, we can retcon that right now. It's a bun.
No, it's just whatever.
Okay, I'm gonna say this is your character's. This is like your character's homage here. I told you about it already.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. But
And
I'm gonna just follow along the party, and if we're just walking for a long time, maybe bust out the pan flute a little bit and just whistle on it just to pass the time, see what's going on.
I'd make you roll for it, but I'm gonna say you do well enough for everyone to be like, "Oh, that's cool. That's my jam," and then everyone's kind of like going like dancing with you on the way. You know, it looks like these two families get along really well, so you're kind of like, "Oh man, this is gonna be a good wedding." There's not a lot of like animosity between them or nothing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Seems like they had been getting to know each other for a long time before they decided to get married.
Question: how old does the human look?
The human, the
Jamal.
bride, Jamal. Yeah, he's he's about his mid-20s.
I'm assuming like the elf looks ageless like everything else, like all elves.
Yeah, like
Like they look like they're in their
if you
mid
want to
twenties, but they look.
inquire about it, I'm just gonna have I don't know Ravnican elves. I think or Ravnican wood elves age a little quicker than normal elves, but other than that, uh, yeah. So she's basically a mature elf, and from her looks of it, she seems to be like, you know, she's either matured just recently to her full maturity, or she's been that way for very few years. She looks like
Okay.
they've probably known each other for quite some time, but then they grew on each other quite literally as she was getting to her of age. So if you were guessing, they basically had to wait until she was really matured for them to get married.
Okay.
But yeah, there's no animosity here. It's all good things. Among the people in the crowd, I wanted to mention that your character wouldn't see these weird looking creatures that appear to be humanoid, but they turn to be really large with gray skin and large ears and a very large nose and tusks. They're very large, but they appear to be chatting harmlessly with the rest of the crowds, and there are a couple of them in the armor that appear to be guards, but
Hmm.
yep, they appear to be walking around. Those are the Luxodons, for if you know anything about Ravnica.
Oh, I knew Loxodons. I'm just
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Your character just like, oh my god, what is that?
Elephant Man. All right, here we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
All right,
And
I'm
like,
thinking back. With seeing so much crazy things, I'm like trying to think back. Like, okay, last thing I remember was I was at a party. What did I take at this party? Because whatever it is not wearing off.
you're like, I've seen my dead lover. I see. There are elephant people. There are so many dryads. These trees are
Oh,
huge.
whatever trip I'm on right now, this is taking a while. Feels so real, but that's how these things work.
Yeah. So like, as I said before, like the whole structure of the Silencia Conclave is basically like nature first, and then structure
Hmm.
second. So like literally, like you'll be walking around the sidewalk and have to like turn like 90 degrees and walk like 10 feet just to turn left, walk 10 more feet, and turn left again just to continue back on the path you were going straight to avoid a tree or to, to get around some bushes or something, you know?
Yeah, I got it. I got it. So it's
Yeah.
taken us a while to get to this
Yeah.
amazing wedding, and it's full of.
Yeah, it appears to be. Well, you notice that there are some actual like non-tree houses amongst the trees that are built of polished marble and are quite as or either in about half the size of some of these very large trees. But again, it's very nature first. Like some of these buildings look like they're slanted because they're avoiding the tree burrows. Like
Okay.
like I said, everything is nature first here. Everything is pristine, well kept. The grass is a perfect like 5 inches. Like
Do they just tell the grass like that's far enough,
yeah,
so I don't
pretty
have to cut
much.
you?
It's what you think. Yeah, you're at this point you don't know. Like you're just like, man, this grass is well kept. All the flowers are pristine and perfect. Again, a lot of the flora you're not quite sure of. You see a few here and there, like maybe a few daisies or some lilies that you know of. A lot of the floral, you're like, oh man, I've never seen that plant before. Um, as you get closer to where the center, there are well, there's just as many trees as there are buildings. But you appear to be going off to the center from the right, and then you're coming up to what looks like pretty much a chapel, but it's it doesn't look like a chapel. It looks more like a well, yeah, well, I mean, from outside view, it would look like a chapel, but it's not
Okay.
a chapel. Like when you get inside, again, look like a chapel, but it's merely for like community meetings. It would be almost like a it would be what churches would be used for, to call community gatherings to talk about current issues or for elections or you know for communal prayer and stuff like that.
Any like symbology on the outside? I probably wouldn't
All the
recognize it.
symbology is these you see trees. Like they're really heavy on this one tree-ish symbol that looks like you played a little bit of Magic Gathering. You know what the Silencia tree looks like, so I don't
Yeah,
really have to go into detail what it looks like. That this is
right.
their major symbol you see pretty much everywhere, or some form of it everywhere. It's very, you know, everyone seems to, everyone seems very friendly with each other. Everyone seems like they're almost family. Like even this family, which you assume, because Zinnia's tree, by the way, is one of the bigger trees you've seen. You haven't seen quite as many trees. She wasn't quite lying when she said she was well aged. Uh, Even Jamal's family, which you assume would be the wealthier of the people,
Mm-hmm.
based on basically on how big the tree was and the spread they had, but they don't seem to be that much well off than everyone else you're seeing. Seems almost like, honestly, the Silencia Combine is more closer to
Commies,
communism. Pretty much. I'm
commies,
not
bunch of
lying.
hippie commies. Let's
Yeah,
go. I
pretty
like it.
much. Everyone helps everyone in there. Like your possessions are just as much possessions as the neighbors, and like this is definitely a place. Hey neighbor, I need to use your lawnmower. No problem, man. Let me get it back, or I'll give it back to you after I finish cutting my lawn for 3 months.
Right. My kinds of people. Let's go.
Yeah, and yeah, the Silencia Combine is just gonna have majority. You might see a few Minotaurs every now and then. You may see some humans every now and then. You might see near the waterways or some of the rivers that go through here. Or well, you say rivers, but now that when you get up to the river, or like let's say one of the times you had to go over a bridge for one of the rivers because you're walking for quite some time.
Right.
The river appears to be man-made. Like it doesn't look like the river was natural, unfortunately. But again, the man-made structure of the river follows the same philosophy as earlier, nature first. So the river
Okay.
winds with the sidewalk like everything else would. It doesn't cut straight through. Doesn't cut straight through.
All right. On our walk, I'll probably catch up to Jamal and just be like, "Yo, where are those big elephant dudes?"
And he's like, "Oh yes, those are Luxodon. They're quite friendly and very calm. They're pretty good at remembering things, so never spite one."
Uh, all right, I'll remember that. Elephants never forget.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was like, and the centaurs and minotaurs you got here. Is everybody this nice here, or is it just
Oh,
is today a special
I'd like to
day?
believe everyone on Ravnica is this knife. Let's here in the Silencia, we're all family.
Oh, I
Selesnya.
kind
I
of
keep saying it wrong. Selesnya. Yeah.
I give them like a kind of like cock one eye 1 second, like they're all family, like
No, no, not
incest
actually
wedding.
related. Not actually related, but we treat each other
Oh,
as
okay.
family
Oh,
in terms
I
of
come from a
and
family too. Yeah.
oh, by this everyone would have known about your family because you'll had that long ass lunch, that brunch,
Mm-hmm.
and y'all talked about dark secrets and family, and you're meeting Jessica, and you're like, oh man, I have a cousin named Janita or something, and
I got a cousin named Teve.
yeah, right.
How's that rhyme with Jessica at all? How? Oh, okay.
I wasn't
Yeah,
trying to
man.
rhyme. Wait, I can make it rhyme. I think I have a few cousins that do rhyme with Jessica.
Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Jessica. Hey, you forgot about cousin Essica.
You come from quite a large family as well. But yeah, like I said, so you make it to this large, pretty much a chapel, and it's quite grand. And it appears to be like marble, white marble with a green roof, and has stained glass. And then yeah, y'all go in, and You already see that most of the females that are not lined up near the altar are sitting down. Are a couple up near the altar already waiting. And then Jamal takes a quick detour. He's like, I have to get my proper gown on, and he's like, you've been a good friend. Quite a good you've been quite a good. I'm trying to work her guest. You could be the guest of honor. And then he points to like use him as best man. And he says, show him where to sit, and as I get ready. And he's like, no problem. And the guest or the best man takes you up to the quite near the front, so you get to sit near the front.
All right. On our way up there, I'll whisper you some. Hey man, where's the good stuff for the party?
Good stuff. You mean the wine or the drink?
Bit stronger than wine. What you got?
Ah. He's like, ah, yes. You mean the trying to think of a nicer word from drugs.
The stuff that'll make you
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, cause like I'm trying to think of a hippie slang term for like, you know, like basically like mind alteration, kind of like, you know, like kind of like stuff that makes you feel good, but you know, we'll come up with a random word, fuck it, Mary J or something, the happy plant or something like that. Why not? We won't call it the happy plant, but yeah, he basically is like, yeah,
the stuff that'll take you on trips, man.
take over trips, man. He's like, well, me and the guys, you seem like the slightly trustworthy type. He's like, it's not illegal. It's not illegal, but it is we Jamal kind of frowns upon it during these types of engagements, but I most definitely can hook you up if you come back after a day or two after the reception.
Oh, so nothing at the reception, you're saying?
Yeah, nothing at the reception. It's kind of a bride and groom's choice kind of thing. Trust me, at mine, oh, everyone had some.
Not even just like a little nip to, you know, for the guest
I can give
of
you
honor.
enough. I can give you enough for a pipe if you want.
That sounds great.
He's like, but any more than that, and well, I'll have to share with everyone. He's like, and you can see that he has like what appears to be almost like a cigar for himself.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was only allowed one for myself, so he reaches into his gives you a small little pouch of some for a pipe, and then he's like, do you have a pipe?
I pat my pockets down because I don't think I have a pipe.
He's like, oh, here, you can borrow mine.
Can I eat it?
I wouldn't recommend it, no.
Alright.
The pipe he hands you is, well, probably one of the fanciest pipes you've ever seen, made out of solid metal.
Oh, nice.
Seems to be made out of some form of pewter metal.
Nice.
It's got a nice tree, you know, motif, as you expect so far. He's like, be quiet about this. Don't tell Jamal. Have my head.
Alrighty then. I'll make sure to do this in the corner.
Well, no, you can. Well, you're allowed to smoke that one. That one doesn't quite. That's why I was able to get the cigar in. It doesn't smell like it.
Okay.
He's like, it's an odorless one. You'll just think you're smoking.
Okay. And I won't actually pack the pipe with. I don't know what he gave me. I don't think I care at this moment. But I'll like keep it in whatever container he gave it to me and just put the pipe in my mouth just to make it like more natural that people see me with the pipe.
Sounds good. So of course you don't want to smoke during the wedding during the wedding part. But during the reception it'll be okay.
Yes. Gotcha.
He's like, I don't know how satyrs do their weddings, but we try to keep the formal stuff first, and then the partying afterwards.
I don't know how satyrs do our weddings either. I don't remember a single one.
I guess they were pretty good then.
Yeah.
So Jamal's best man apparently likes the party. You know what? I'm gonna give Jamal's best man a name. We'll call him. Damn, I come up with a name on the fly here.
I thought you said Yusum.
No, I told you that almost every other character wouldn't matter, but having
Yeah.
having you actually sit here and talk to him, I've liked this character now, so I got to come up with a name for him.
Like a drug dealer now. We have to
Yeah,
name him.
yeah, we have to name your drug dealer now. Call him Terrell. Yeah, Terrell.
Okay. All right.
Or Tarell. Terrell. There we go. Terrell. Oh, by the way, this I'll go ahead and put here. Terrell looks like the younger gentleman that's not quite an adult yet in that painting. So he's Jamal's brother. There you go.
I'm hitting up teenagers for drugs. I like it even better.
I know, right? I thought you were gonna kick out of that, so I was like, "Fuck
you carried." Okay.
He's like, they pass the peace pipe around every now and then. He's like, I got you.
Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. I had to yeah, he's his brother, and I was like, he's got an older sister and a younger brother. I'm not changing it now.
All right, I'll go down and sit in my spot as the guest of honor.
Yep. And Jamal comes back out, and he seems to be wearing a much nicer a much nicer outfit. Seems to be very stylish. So we're talking like before he was wearing like maybe they were both wearing like I guess you could say like light green robes. They kind of matched, but one was for male, one was for female. Now he's wearing like almost like dark green, like with it's almost like a dark green suit, but it's got like gold trim, and then the under part is like white. And it's got tree motifs because Selesnya have all the tree motifs.
I'm imagining like a tuxedo looking thing.
Yeah, it's real ornate. Kind of, I'm trying to think of almost like I kind of like you remember how the old like kind of like Napoleon like vests were where they had the weird ornate trim on their suits.
The frill in the front or whatever it is.
Yeah, there's like the white frill in the front instead of like a tie.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, but I don't like the pants from that situation, so we're gonna have the pants be more like traditional suits from nowadays. But the actual upper part of the suits had the frills and a mixture of the two styles between today's and more of a colonial kind of setup.
Okay.
Yeah, and then yeah. The green is just light enough that it doesn't doesn't clash with his darker skin tone. It was a well thought together outfit. Man, it looks good on him. And then they wait there, and then some nice music starts up, and everyone was kind of commotioning, kind of hushes up, just like a normal wedding ceremony. And after a few minutes, the little flower girls come by, and you notice one of the younger flower girl happens to be a dryad. I know she's a young dryad. And then she runs off to the right, and again, the rule number 1 of Selesnya is build around the forest. There's a little tree. There's a sapling in the fucking corner of the room.
All right.
So you assume that's her tree, and she just helps out with the chapel.
Okay.
And then the bride comes in, and she's wearing a very very ornate. It's a wedding dress, but it's Silencia wedding dress. So it's got the Silencia white, which is more like a cream color, with gold and green embroidery. She's real pretty. Everyone's all like, "Oh, she's so pretty," and the nice music. They give their Selesnya wedding prayers about, everyone in Selesnya is kind of a family, but these two are as close as one can get, of one body, of one soul. Some weird motivational wedding ceremony stuff. You've probably been to a few of them.
Just a couple here and there.
Yeah. And they do their I do's, and they kiss, and everyone cheers.
Hooray!
And then they hold hands, and as they leave, the best ladies and men start to fall behind him. And as he follows behind them, he's like, "All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna get up after the last guy and follow him, and then everyone else will follow you." And then basically, like, as everyone leaves, you kind of leave in a line, leaving out your pews, following the bride and groom, and then they'll go across into the courtyard, which is, well, when you were getting in there, it looks like they were setting up for the reception, and now that you guys get out there, and there's a little confetti and whatnot, or like flower petals and whatnot. And they have this reception is set up. There's music. There's a bunch of, like, people that are catering for the wedding, and everyone starts to mingle, and the head table for the bride and groom to sit at and drink their wine and talk about their future honeymoon and whatnot. And everyone's wearing, because they're all Silenzias for the most part, so they're all wearing, green and white. And you do notice a couple people standing out. There are a few people in red and white, and a few people in there's a couple people in green and white, or green and blue. There happens to be like a few people in white and blue, and one of them is talking to Jamal and Sakira. I almost called her Kiara, but I was like, no, that's RuneScape. I'm not playing that right now.
Shakira, yeah, got it. I'm just every time you change your name to Shakira, I'm gonna start saying it right, and every time you switch it back to Shakira, I'm gonna call her the wrong name on purpose.
No, I was calling her Kiara, which is I think there's a boss in RuneScape called Kiara or something like that, and it was throwing me off. But so everyone's mingling and partying. Terrell comes up to you and he's like, "Well, you can light your pipe now if you want." And he's got his cigar already going.
When's the toast?
He's like, "The toast will be probably a little later. Right now it's a little mingling, and then when they finally bring out the food, which you have noticed the food isn't quite out yet, then we'll do the toast. And well, the cake cut. They'll bring the cake out first, and then we'll do the food." And
I'll go ahead and pack my little pipe and light it. And
you notice that he's not the only one smoking, but you're pretty sure he's the only one also smoking, marijuana or whatnot. Drugs, pretty much.
We're gonna have to invent a drug system in Ravnica.
Well, no, there's already one. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there's not explicitly mentioned, but I'm pretty sure there's one, and I don't need to dig deep to really come up with how it works. So I'm just gonna say, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that they're a very progressive society, considering they have several trillions of people living in the city of Ravnica. So.
All right.
So
I'll proceed to smoke my pipe and enjoy myself and have a good time here.
And I'm just gonna say
music?
that. Yeah, there's music. I already said there's music playing.
Okay.
You can join them if you want. I guess toot along with them.
How fast is the music? Is it really slow?
Oh, right now it's kind of middle paced.
Okay.
It's not super slow and somber or really upbeat for people to dance. It's just kind of like a normal, chill, medium pace music.
Okay.
Medium tempo. And then yeah, they finally wheel out the big cake or well, they bring out the big cake. Two of them, large Luxodons, carrying it, and they set it on the middle table, and then Jamal speaks up. It's like, all right, everyone, now for the toast, and they give the, or actually no, the Jamal or Terrell has to give his best man speech, which is why he was probably smoking. You realize now. Uh,
How's it go?
it goes pretty decent. It's mostly like I've known my big brother all my life, considering I'm the little brother, and he shares an embarrassing story about how him and Sukira first decided to get together, and it's just a nice little heartwarming speech, and then he's gives them the congratulations, and then the best lady gives her speech, and the father of the bride gives her his speech, and then the groom and the wife actually have one for each other, and then they go and cut the cake, and then they do the toast, and everyone toasts with the wine.
Here, here.
Yep, and then the music is up tempo. There's no first dance for this particular gathering, so that's just not part of the ceremony here.
Okay. What kind of instruments they got in the band?
Coming from Theros, they would have. Well, you would know the drums, but you wouldn't quite know what a drum set would be. And then you would know there appears to be a string instrument, but it's not a lute. And there appears to be some instruments made of brass that they are playing on that is similar to the flute, but it's not a flute, obviously. And there's like I don't think horn, like you've seen you've probably seen horns like used for like the trumpets, like for announcing king's royalty, but these look to be more complicated and appear to have quite a pleasing tune, or made of brass. So basically their music instruments are a little bit more advanced than what you're used to seeing. What I'm trying to get at. But they all play pretty good music.
Are we talking like I don't know.
It's not. I mean, I don't know. It would be. Oh, it'd be upbeat. I don't know. What's popular upbeat? I guess upbeat jazz. I guess I don't know.
Okay.
I know. I'm just thinking. There's a saxophone player. Sure. Yes, it's upbeat jazz. Let's do it.
Upbeat jazz. I like it. Do you know, like at every wedding, they always play a shout or whatever?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, you're gonna go up there and be like, hey, I got a song idea, and you're gonna like have them play shout, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then like he's like, hey, as the guest of honor, I have a song for you guys, and then he's like, okay, guys, and you like kind of like follow him on this tune, and you kind of like sing out the tune, and they're like, oh, okay, got it, and then like I'll start singing. Shout, throw my hands back, okay.
Yeah.
It goes off pretty good.
And shout.
And everyone likes it, and everyone dances in a little bit. Everyone gives you your applause. And then, after
you guys want the Macarena? Sorry.
Sure, if you want to go ahead and do another song for an encore. And then, I'm gonna have, after you get done with that, Jamal and Sekiro wave you over, and that lady that was talking to them before in the blue and white robes, who, as you get closer, appears to be, half elf, half human, half elf, has features of both. She's like, oh, this is Aura. As before, I told you that I kind of didn't want to talk business during the wedding. It is, Aura did remind me it is quite necessary that I need to get you we need to get you checked in as soon as possible.
So I'm kind of high at this moment, probably. So I like.
Well, this stuff that he gave you was like, it's like buzzworthy, but you're not like stupid high. You're just kind of like, yeah, I feel it. You got a little bit of the munchies coming on. Right. That's why you come over to her with like some like, what would be the equivalent of chips on a little plate. You're munching on while you're listening to her talk. And Aura's like, she's like, my name is Aura. I'm with the Azorius, and an
Bless you.
oh, she's like it's the guild, and she points to the symbol on her chest, just like Jamal and Sakira are from the Selesnya, and she points to the symbol on, well, everywhere.
Hmm.
Oh, the tree. I'm sure you've seen it. She's like, I am a Azorius sponsor, and from Jamal's tale, you are apparently a planeswalker.
Yes, I do walk places.
She's like, she's like a funny one. You can tell that Aura is not a super funny person, or at least not outwardly. He's just
Okay.
kind of monotonous. And he's like, don't worry about Aura. She means well. She's just muted on her sense of
I just
expression.
kind of look over at Jamal and I just kind of shake my head and, like, shrug, like, I have no idea what a plate walker is.
It's a planeswalker. He's like, when you appeared during the rehearsal, you fell out of the sky quite literally.
That happens to me a lot. I have fallen out of a couple trees.
He's like, yes, but not normally with a flash of light and a flame symbol above your head.
There's a symbol.
He's like, or explains that when a planeswalker planeswalks, it's a form of teleportation between two places. She's like, I'm sure
Oh
you've.
yeah, I can do that.
She's like, but it's a over a very vast difference. She's like, I'm sure you've realized that you're definitely not where you were from. You're in a you're on a plane called Ravnica.
Hmm. Okay.
He's like
Okay.
he's like do you remember the name of where you come from?
We called it home.
Mm.
Uh, I am personally from. To my notes, my backstory. I'm from Scola Valley.
Like Scola Valley. She pauses for a second and then she has a satchel with her. She opens up the satchel and she digs through it for a second. She pulls out a book and she opens it up and she opens up the back of the book to the index and looks for Scola Valley. And she
Hmm.
finds it and flips to the page. She's like, "You're from Theros, then?"
Yeah.
He's like,
Everything.
and
That's
he's
like calling the world the world. Yeah.
she's like,
Aren't we
"Okay."
still there?
He's like, she picks up two apples to explain, or an apple and orange. She's like, the apple would be Theros. This orange would be Ravnica. You're on
Look,
Ravnica.
we're not that different.
All right, we'll do it with two apples. She's trying to explain it to you as someone who quite can't comprehend planes, or at least is kind of high. But she's pretty good at it, despite her being monotonous. So,
I am high and stupid, so
yes,
this is not a good combination.
despite your best efforts, you'll despite your best efforts to be stupid and oblivious to what she's saying, you'll eventually catch on after about 10 to 20 minutes that you're not in Kansas anymore.
Okay. I will. I'm like, yeah, I've been
I
teleporting
could sit
since.
here and we could do rolls if you want, but I don't really want to have to do
I'll just
that.
look at her and be like, yeah, I teleport all the time.
She's
Like,
like,
and I will like make like a little echo avatar like 30 feet behind me, and it's like a little gray figure of me, and I'll just like poof back to it, and then it'll be like we switch places, and I'll come back. See, easy peasy, man.
she's like quite an interesting trick. She's like, but no, seeing as you're not from Ravnica, it is my job as a sponsor to get anyone who's new to Ravnica checked in as soon as possible.
Ah,
Otherwise, if you accidentally planeswalk or you get stopped, you especially would get stopped since there are no satyrs, or she says satire because she doesn't know what a satyr is on
mm.
Ravnica or native to Ravnica.
That's sad, man.
You would get stopped pretty
Satyrs are the
quickly.
best partiers.
She's like, you would get stopped pretty quickly. And if you don't have proper paperwork on you, you could see a fine or jail time.
Uh,
It's only a matter of carrying around a small badge, but it takes a little while to get checked in. She's like, you could stay for a little bit longer, but we'll have to go to the check-in station down by the city center.
you're not gonna like magically tag me, are you?
No,
Listen in on my conversations and bug me?
no. We don't invade privacy like that. Not ever. Well, we
Not
don't do
ever
that
since.
anymore since. Well, when we had a leader of the Azorius recently who did do that, but it got out of hand really quick and was eventually stopped because it was a violation of, well, privacy. Turns out he was working for an evil individual anyways, and he got his justice.
Alright, I can. Alright, so things aren't that different. There's good, bad people. Gotcha.
He's like, but I can assure you none of that. It's merely just more like magical paperwork that just particularly states who you are and where you
Oh,
come
I'm
from.
Nadius. You can call me Gnat or Nat for short.
Yes, I hear that your name is Nat from
Uh,
Jamal.
okay.
She's like, but I'm not the one to check you in. We have to take you to see my boss.
Uh, so you're wearing blue and white, right?
Yes.
These guys all wear green and some white. What's that guy wearing? I point to the guy wearing blue and green. Does he look
Oh,
weird?
the blue and green guy. This one, yes, this person. Now that you get a close look at him, seems to have a blue skin tone and appears to be somewhat like a fish.
Alright.
They seem to be very aquatic looking. He's part of the
Because
Simic. He's
I'll
friends with some of the family of Sukira. He came here as a guest.
our fish usually stay in the sea, so that's new to me.
Well, I mean, he doesn't look like a fish. He would look like they're merfolk on Theros, so you would know what a merfolk is actually. But
Yeah, but
this
they
is
stay in
different
the
from
sea.
but this is different from your standard merfolk because everyone's a merfolk from different planes are slightly different. So this was different from the ones you've seen,
Mhm.
but you can gather that's a merfolk.
Okay. Yeah. Are there anybody else with different colors? Because I think you said red and white was
Yep,
here.
red and white. They tend to just they looked yeah. There's red and white. There's a guy wearing like his ceremonial armor to the wedding.
Okay, I'll point at that guy's like, who's that guy?
He's part of the he's part of the Boros Legion. They're like military police of Ravnica. He's he is one of Jamal's friends from his time serving in the Conclave Guard.
Okay. Can I like pick any colors to wear? Like that's pretty cool.
Well, if you want to join a guild, there's initiation to go through, but and the
Oh.
fees for memberships.
Oh.
But um, after you get
Like I
checked in, you most certainly can attempt to apply for one.
like what's the one that's like purple and yellow? You got anything there?
No, no purple and yellow. Oh my god, I am so popular. Stop people calling me today.
Aw, dang.
Alright, it's gonna be on my. Anyone who listens into that is gonna have like Discord anxiety.
Alright. So you want me to come register
Yes.
tomorrow?
No, you're gonna come with me after the wedding. It's imperative
Uh
we do it as soon as possible.
oh.
She's like, I would have already had you done, but she's like, had you put into the system, but Jamal insisted we wait till after his wedding, and I
She'd
wouldn't
be
be in
like
my.
with a pain
She's
look
like,
on my face.
and then she has a pained look on her face, but she's like, but I wouldn't be in my position now if it wasn't for Jamal. So I owe him at least this much.
Yeah, like I have like a code, a personal code, and it's generally after weddings you're not supposed to remember.
He's like, I'm unfortunate to tell you that you're probably going to remember this one for quite some time.
Is Do you have fireworks or something?
No, after I take you to my boss, you'll probably remember for a while.
Why? Is that a
She's just gotta ask you questions, and I can see that you're not quite sober, but before they ask you questions, they'll sober you up.
I'm as sober as I get, baby.
I'm assuming she could concur that you're. She's got, like I said, she's a monotonous kind of like serious type. So she's like rubbing her, her eyes, or her, she's got one hand on like her, the bridge of her nose, rubbing it. She's like, most of you Selesnya types tend to be party goers. Although you're better than the Rakdos, I can't quite complain.
Wait, there's more partiers?
Well, depends on what you qualify a party.
Alcohol, music, dancing.
Oh, there are some more tamer Rakdos places, but
Juggling.
juggling. You start to get into the carnival. She's like,
Oh,
you
I love carnivals, man.
I don't know. Do you like sword swallowing and piercing and
Dude, those tricks are awesome. Like,
yeah?
I'm pretty sure like they like have the collapsible swords when they try it. I've never tried to swallow a whole sword, but
I doubt they're collapsible.
mm.
And then
All right.
she's like, she does like, I don't want to talk about them.
So if like the blue and green people are merfolk,
They're
and
not all
these guys,
merfolk. They just happen to be Simic.
if they're similes, and these people are all elves and humans and elephant people and centaur, I feel like this is the most diverse group we got going on here.
Well, there's actually quite citizens of Ravnica are quite diverse.
Ah, okay.
You can probably find one type of person in just about every guild,
Okay.
minus the Golgari. There are a few types that are only there.
Let's go, Gary.
They're more like the farmers slash waste management slash
Mm.
the pretty much yeah, the farmers waste management stuff like
Yeah, I
that.
thought we farmed. All right. I'll dig it. I
They
dig it,
grow most of
Aurora.
the food because they have large rot farms.
Rot farms?
They basically there's a lot of dead fungus and things down there. They make great fertilizer, so they're able to mass produce food.
Okay. All right. Well, I will see you after this party.
You've got
Kind of
about
look my breath.
you've got about she pulls out a little gold. Well, you've seen a clock before. I don't know if you've seen a clock from Theros. She pulls out this little gold circle that she pops open, and it ticks. She's like, "You've got about 2 hours, and then I can have to take you. So enjoy what you
Is there
can."
still sunshine up right now?
The sun is slightly starting to go down.
I kind of like hold my fingers up to the horizons. Like, I don't know how many fingers that means.
She's like, "I'll come and get you when it's over."
All right, I'll be the satyr in the group. All right.
Yes.
and I'm gonna go and get drunk, smoke some more weed, and party with my friends, my new friends.
All right, and then I'm just gonna fast forward time. You get your
All
partying,
right.
and you get how wasted did you want to get during those 2 hours?
Oh, I'm pretty wasted.
Okay, cool. So
I'm going all out.
you're pretty wasted. Are you like not able to basically stand wasted?
I can.
Walk very poorly?
Yes, I am the drunk guy walking from the bar who's like wobbling around.
Or is like, here. She brings you one more drink. She's like, here you go. Drink this before we leave. She hands you to a cup of wine. Well, it smells like wine.
Okay, since I'm drunk, I'll trust her for now.
Yeah. She's gonna sober the shit out of you. You're not gonna be very happy with her after you leave. She's like,
But if I wasn't drunk, I would have put two and two together. But I'm drunk, and I'm like, okay, and I'll
yeah.
chug the
So you
wine.
chug the wine, and it tastes like good wine, like same quality. You've been drinking all night. You're like, man, thank you, man. I had the wrong thought about you, Aura. You're cool.
You're a pretty cool lady. Like you and I, like we could be friends.
She's like, oh.
Real friends.
She's like,
we don't have to be the same.
She's like, oh, that's very kind of you to say. Now, if you can go ahead and follow me, best of your ability. And then she motions for you to follow her. We have quite a ways to walk. Well, yes, we have quite a ways to walk.
Don't you have like horses or something we can take? Chariots?
We could get a carriage if you want.
Yeah.
She's like, she walks up to, the Boros gentleman seems to be getting on a carriage, and she asks him where he's headed, and she's like, come with us, we can ride with this gentleman. And, the Boros gentleman is another dark-skinned human, similar to Jamal, but he's in, like, silver and red, or white and red, like, brilliant armor, and he's like, oh yes, you guys can most definitely ride here. And like, it'll take us, we'll have to get off and walk a lot less distance, but it'll take us to where we need. And then so yeah, you'll get on the carriage and it starts taking you. I'm assuming you're drunk out of your mind at the moment, but as you're riding and you're slowly like coming off your stupid drunk. You're like, wait, I can think straight.
Wait, you're harsh in my mellow. No,
well, your mellow's harsh in itself. You don't like, oh my god, what's going on?
No, I drink to kill my emotions.
Your emotions are returning.
No.
Oh no. By the time your emotions have fully returned, you're getting out of the. She's like, "This is where we need to get off," and then she gets off and she's like, "Come with me. I assume you're very easy to stand now."
Yeah, it's real easy now.
She's like,
it's like a little pissed.
She's like, she chuckles at that one. She's like, anyways, come with me.
So you can laugh.
She's like, maybe.
All right, I'll follow her. And
when you step out onto a man-made waterfront, and it's about a good mile. It looks like it's almost like a good mile across lake or like kind of like river. It rotates around the sea, and you're in a completely different place from where you were. And I mean, like, it's like awestruck. Like, even though it's kind of dark now, like, we're talking like some of these buildings are like going on spires. They're so large, and like all you can see left, right, straight behind you, buildings, and more buildings. It is like, yeah, it is just like very large. Like you were like pissed, and then you stepped out, and you're like, holy shit, where am I?
What is
Yeah, and there's
this?
like
It's
not a tree.
like
There's
New
not a
York City for
there.
the first time.
Yeah, there's not a tree in sight right now. Like before, there was like trees and bushes and plants everywhere. Here, not a single one.
Okay. All right. I am impressed. I'm looking around at all. Are we passing? I'm assuming a plethora of different types of people.
Oh yes, there's a much more hearty mix of well now added into the mix now would be goblins and um more minotaurs, a little bit more minotaurs roaming around here and there. There are some pale looking people walking around. It's nighttime out and we're starting to be nighttime. There are a couple people mixed in here and there that are well, I don't think there are tieflings in Theros, but I know that there are devils and demons in Theros.
Are there?
I believe there are. I believe there's demons in every realm on Magic the Gathering, so. I think, I don't know. But, which you assume there's some red people walking around with horns. Some of them have tails, some of them don't. Some of them have hooves, some of them don't. Some of them are bigger than others, some of them aren't. There are some blue people walking around. There are more merfolk walking around too.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like you're seeing a lot more mix of the colors, and then you notice that not everyone is wearing the colors. Same thing back in Selesnya. Not everyone was wearing the colors, but a lot of them did. But there were some people mixed in that didn't have like full-on Selesnya attire, but they might have had like attire appropriate for the wedding. But just like here, you're seeing people wearing like guild colors, but then you see people like not. You see more people not than there are people wearing guild colors. But there's enough people wearing guild colors for you to notice the colors.
Okay. I like whispers like, yo, you guys, the goblins just run.
The goblins are well dressed and look like normal citizens. Like they're not like running around rat savage. There's one that looks like he's got a little like wheelbarrow pulling behind him that's got like looks like his, I guess you say, his groceries, like he went shopping.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pulling that from behind him, walking in the street.
I'm just like amazed that they're goblins and minotaurs just walking around not destroying everything. Like, the heck? Okay.
Yeah. Off of the distance, he looks like he's coming towards you guys, but he's seems to be stepping very carefully. But there's a giant off in the distance coming this way.
Oh wow! How tall is he? Like 20 feet?
Yeah, easy.
Ah, nice. I come up to like his knees. I'm just like, wow.
As he walks by, not even paying you real mind. He just seems to be like on his merry way. And you're used to like giants wearing basically like if you've seen one, they're like loincloths. So, not this guy's got like a full civilian attire on, and he's a giant.
Oh wow.
So
nice.
So he's got like boots that are size 1200.
He doesn't have just one like cobbler. He's got a team of cobblers for himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of all taking it in, just mouth agape like.
She's like, be careful, you'll catch flies. She's a smart ass. And y'all are walking around the waterfront, and like you said, off to the right, there's boats and whatnot, with various goods and stuff loaded on them, and across the lake is a very large chapel. Like before, that place where you were at, the Slinzy, it was like a nice little meeting house. It was pretty big. This pales in comparison to the size of this chapel across the lake. It is fucking massive. Like the chapel before would be like, trying to think of it, like the chapel before would be like the size of maybe like a JC Penney from the mall. I don't know if you live around here. This thing is like the entire mall, like, actually no, the entire mall including the parking lot size, and it's like a good 20 stories tall chapel. Like it's huge
Wow.
across the lake, across the not a lake. I keep want to call it a lake. It's a river, but it's about you can see it. It's that big. You can see it from across this 1 mile long river, and it's got brilliantly lit up stained glass and steeples and very gothic architecture. You can see from across the lake also the very stained glass has a picture of what looks like kind of like a sun almost. It's a different symbol from what you're used to, from the other symbols that you've seen so far.
Okay.
And all the buildings, for the most part, are kind of uniform in structure, but they don't really have any distinguishing features so far, except for the fact that they're just very large buildings. You missed like the Merchant Square, and since it's not daylight, you can't quite see any patrols in the sky. Just saying you can't see any of those because it's dark out. They wouldn't be like colorful. You've never seen airships before. There are floating boats in the sky.
Now that is fascinating to me. Like, how do I ride one of those?
She's like, well, you'd need to be going somewhere that needs to get there by airship.
Can you buy those?
They're quite expensive, but yes. Same price as, well, a little bit more than a galleon.
Alright, alright. Like, what are those used for again?
Same thing as galleons are. Goods, travel.
You guys have, like, sky pirates here?
No. If you find any with guns on them, then they only deal with the Leviathans.
Leviathans?
You know what Leviathans are, and they're like, yes, there's a Sky Leviathans. And every now and then you'll run into one or two when you're in.
Okay. Feeling it. Might want to fly high.
And as y'all are walking around this waterfront, you're getting close. He's like, "Oh, we're almost here," and you're coming up to a looks almost like a like a Parthenon, like how a Parthenon has the Greek lattices in the front, like the Lincoln Monument does.
Right.
But this building's a mixture of Greek and Gothic, so it has like a Gothic steeple front, but it kind of turns into like kind of a Greek. Combine the Greek and Gothic aesthetic. This is what this building looks like. It's got a red roof and then of course white polished marble, and it's pretty wide. And she's like, "You follow me up the steps," and you walk up the steps, and you get to like what looks like a little counter, and the counter like looks like it's closed, but it has like the window shut on the counter. And she knocks on the counter or on the door, on the window.
Looks like it's too late at night. Looks like we're gonna have to do this tomorrow.
She's like, "No, it's not closed." She knocks on it, and the window's open, and he's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" She's like, "I have someone to check in." Like, "Oh, okay." And then
Do they have a bell?
you didn't see a bell.
Okay.
She hands her like looks like you don't know what a clipboard is, but it's a board that has some papers on it, and she's sitting there and she's going through the papers, writing on the papers. By the way, while you're watching her write, I mean, you know Common, but you can't read this Common. You don't know what she's writing. She writes down your name. She's like, "I'd ask you how to spell that, but I doubt you could read my writing."
It's so easy. It's gamma. I don't know the end.
Yeah,
in
Greek. You know
alphabet.
Greek alphabet letters. She's like, "Ah." Yeah.
Gamma, not alpha,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
theta.
Yeah. And she's like, "Ah." Yes, of course.
So easy.
and she just writes it down. Scribbles on her name, and
That's
she
not how
goes
you
through a
spell
few
it.
more papers and spells
Here,
around.
let, let
She's
me show
like,
you how to spell it.
she's like, if by all means, if you want to, and she lets you right on this line here.
All right. I'll actually write my name in whatever Thorosian language it is.
She's like, thank you. She scribbles out, or she scratches through. But she's one of those people that puts just the one line through a word when they scribble something out. Instead of like most people who go scribble, 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 scribble. She just goes one line, crosses it out, and then she goes
Does she
through.
initial, sign, and date it?
Yeah, she's at the bottom. She initials what appears to be her, what you assume is her initials and whatnot. Of course, again, it's all in script. It's all written in script. You can't quite understand. And she's flipping through it for a few seconds, and then she hands it back to the person, and the person hands her basically it looks almost like I want to say about the size of your fist card on a lanyard, and she says, hold on to this, and you wear it around your neck so you don't lose it. She's
All
like,
right.
it's quite expensive if you lose it, so don't lose it.
Okay.
And then
I'll put it on.
she's like, now we have to go take you to my boss. And then you go up to the door, and guarding the door at this hour seems to be a gentleman in that red and white armor as before. But you didn't quite notice it before until you walked up to him. But this guy is seems to be made of fire.
Cool beans, bro.
Like he's like fully armored. So like the only parts of him that you can see that are made of fire is like his face is like fire.
Oh,
So
no.
like he's like an elemental, but the rest of him is like wearing full armor, so you don't see the fire. So like his face is glowing. He's like,
I'm trying to think of like either a fire or a heat pun, but I just can't think of one.
yeah, and he's like, and he just kind of like doesn't say anything, and he opens the door, and he points for you to go in, or motions for you to go in. She's like, this way, and then you walk in to the main lobby, and it's like 5-star hotel lobby. Like it's real posh, real nice. You know,
Okay.
the only difference between this and a normal 5-star hotel lobby, but like every door has 2 armed guards in the red and white armor. So, you know. And then she's like, this way, and she leads you to a staircase, and it leads you upstairs. And it leads you upstairs into what looks like a it basically looks like a large, like a almost like a almost a, I'll say almost a restaurant, kind of like an open mic club where like everyone's got little circle tables and booths and whatnot. There's a bar off to the left. There's a performer on the stage. Yeah, there's a bar out there. But she's like, but that's off to the in front of you. Off to the right of you is a sectioned off like marbled floor with a long bench that at this point has it has, it looks like a elf, a tiefling, and a human sitting at the bench already. And then she motions for you to sit down on the bench, and she's like,
Right.
you sit there and wait for your name to be called, and then follow instructions. It's quite simple. Oh, by the way, the person performing on the stage right now is a bright red demon gentleman in a purple 3-piece suit, playing the smoothest jazz your ears have ever heard.
Nice. When I go to sit down, I don't just like plop down. I like slide along the bench.
When you step over the threshold, you're an Echo Knight, so you're kind of familiar with a little bit of magic. It feels a little funny.
I slide along the bench until I like, bump into the person. Like, sup? What you in for?
The person you happen to bump into is just like, I don't know. They told me to sit here and wait for my name.
What's your name?
Person sitting next to you is like, my name is Yoshi.
What is the person sitting next to me? Like, what race?
This is a human wearing full armor.
Okay. You know what, Yoshi? You should go in on my name and see what happens. I'll go in for you. You go in for me. How about that?
He has a kind of like a faceplate on, so you can only see his eyes, like his full armor. We can only really see his eyes. He's in the samurai garb, by the way, so like you would know what it looks like. He's wearing like full
Okay.
samurai armor, black armor.
Gotcha. With like the little mask that like clips into like the
Yeah, the
helmet, so
helmet,
like.
so you can only see his eyes. Yeah,
Gotcha.
and he's just sitting there, and he's like, I doubt they would mistake us.
You never know, man. Like you could be me under there.
Not with those, and he points to the hooves.
I point to his shoes.
He's like, yes, that's. I doubt you would fit in them.
All right, all right. I look at the next guy. Who's the next guy down the line?
Next guy down the line on the bench, the same bench.
Yep.
The first all the way in, the elf is JD's character. She just kind of sits there and is like, I don't want nothing to do with anyone else. And then Sean's character is a human bard, and he's sitting there, kind of strumming along to the jazz session going on.
Oh, is he
Eating a
strumming along?
sandwich. Yeah.
Like, dude, you play music? Me too, bro. I'll pull up my pan flute, try and like do some jazz pan fluting.
Yeah. You notice you and his is playing. The people out in the lobby don't seem to recognize that y'all are playing. And you see what you're a Echo Knight, so you know a little bit of magic. You assume that this glass in front of you, after looking at it, it's not glass, but more like a magical barrier.
Soundproof, probably.
Yeah.
One-way soundproof. That's good. That's good magic right there.
Yeah.
Yo, guy
So
with the what's he playing?
I think he has a lute, so he'd just be playing lute, and you can play pan flute with him. And
Dude with the lute. What's your name?
name is Sean.
Sean.
Yeah, his son, Sean the Sean.
Sean the Sean. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Sean is playing a bard named Sean. I don't know what his last name was, but anyways, yeah, sure, you and him play together if you want to wait while y'all wait. If you want to wait. Again,
I'm gonna introduce myself to everybody though. Like I'd introduce myself to the elf on the end as well. But
and she could do
Nadius.
She can do the. I don't quite want to talk to you. Of course, like again, I can't act out how the players would respond to a satire, so I'm just trying to have them kind of be indifferent to you at this point. But I also kind of wanted you were familiar meeting them, so that when we meet on session 1, you've run into them.
Okay.
So you know you've seen them. You notice that they're also planeswalkers.
Okay.
And then as you're looking out into this lobby, there's a whole bunch of different people of different garbs and gear and armor, from like different places. So basically, this is like a huge, almost like a hotel for planeswalkers. Because I'm basically having my Ravnica be like, after the War of the Spark, they've started catering to planeswalkers.
Oh, nice.
And in order for them to deal with planeswalkers, they check them in, and then and they have this like basically it's like a hub for planeswalkers to come and chill.
All right. So I don't know if she's gonna call my name first.
Oh no, the elf gets called back first. The tiefling at the end who
try and stand up and try and walk in.
And then he's like, no, not you. Oh, a little bit after the elf gets called back, you are Echo Knight, so you do have a little bit of connection to magic, even though you're not super into it. You'll feel a small tug, like on the back of your head, and like, if you could try to resist it if you want to, or you just kind of like scratch your head, like, huh, that was weird. I mean, it's up to you.
Of course, like a physical tug on my hair, or like a tug on my brain.
It feels like a tug on like your head almost, like someone just kind of like pulled you back a little bit.
Of course, I'm gonna try and resist it. Don't tell me what to do.
All right, so you resist the initial tug, and then after about 2 seconds, You almost hear an audible sigh, and then there's a hard tug, and you're like, "Ow!"
Ow! What was
What was
that?
that? And then it goes away. It's just as soon as it came on.
I'll look around for the direction of the sigh.
It sounded like it came like it was like from inside your head, but it wasn't your sigh.
Oh goodness
And
me,
it
not
was like a
again.
girl went, and then
You see me? Not again, not again, not again. Okay, okay, okay.
and then yeah, while y'all are waiting, the tiefling go, "Whose was that? Who was that?" And he stands up and looks around, and then like goes back to being his edgy self and sits back down.
I'm assuming the tiefling is someone else who's playing as well, right?
Yeah, you remember Cody's character he made himself a dissociative identity character. That's one of
Okay.
his identities. So
Yoshi's with Cody.
no, Yoshi is a NPC I made.
Okay.
Yoshi is just someone you don't know.
Okay. All right.
Um,
I'll look around for like anybody who looks like they're. I assume it's Aura or whatever, because only she would sigh at me like that.
yeah, well, or you see when she motions for you to sit across the bench, she just said, "Wait for your name to be called," and she seemed to have left.
Mm.
You do notice that more people come and sit on the bench as time goes on. Eventually, in Minotaur and Therosian garb would sit down.
Dude, sup? The Rose too?
And
Looks like we're Theros brothers, bro. That's what I'd say.
I'm going to assume he kind of just passive aggressively dismisses you because
Probably.
based on how his character's already being built up. But I'll do mention that when he goes to sit down in his session that the satire is like, "Yo, Satyr is like, hey, what's up?
What's up, man?
Brother from another mother, how you doing? you're bull on goat, let's go."
Yeah, what's up? What part of Theros you from? You from the Bronx? Yeah, I'm from Queens. We're basically the same.
Basically, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'll mention that to him when it comes up. Yeah, but for the most part, I've been having people. Most people have kept to themselves when they sit on the bench. You're the first one that kind of actively try to talk to others. So
I'll be like, I'm from Skull Valley. Where are you from, man? Yeah.
and then the tiefling gets called back, or the kind of demonish looking guy gets called back. Then that Sean the bard gets called back. Yoshi, the guy in armor, gets called back. And then you haven't told me your last name. I don't think you made your character a last name, did you?
No, I didn't make one up. I always just kind of mumble after Nadius the Third.
Oh yeah, just like whatever his last name actually is, the gentleman
Right.
comes out. You've not given anyone your last name. Calls you by your first name and your last name, and says it's your turn. And if you're the third, he says the third as well.
That one's more of a choice. That's not a family. Okay.
Oh no, no, whatever the actual last name, and whether or not you're the second, the third, or whatever you actually are, which you haven't made for your character, but whatever it actually is, he comes out and says it. I just want to point that out.
Okay.
Like you're just like, I don't think I've told anyone that.
Is this guy reading my underwear or something?
Anyways, he points. He's wearing the red and white armor. And then I'm assuming you go up there and listen to the man. He
I
says,
do go up there. Spelled with a gamma, right? That's me.
yes, if that's what the symbol here is. And he's holding his paper.
Yep,
And then
that's me. Let's go.
And then he says just to follow the arrows, and you go to the back room, and there's an arrow pointing around to the right. And follow the arrow as you get around to a door, and on the door is written in different scripts, including one you recognize, which is the Gamma common, Theros common. It says, "Please knock."
Okay. I'll knock, but when I knock, it's not like the regular 1, 2, 3. It's like da 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 da. Like I'm like
Whenever you
playful
get
knocking.
finished knocking, the door opens, and then on the other side of the room is a tall, a not super tall, about average height, pale woman, and she has heterochromia, one red eye, one blue eye, black hair, and she smiles at you. She has a very toothy smile, and she says, "Please sit down here, darling." He points to the chair.
Hey, what's
She's in
up?
uh,
All
she's in
right, all
she's
right.
in black and white robes with blue and silver bracer, or with silver and black bracers, or although the silver is
You
almost a
said black
blue.
and what robes?
Black and
Sorry,
white robes.
black and
The
white robe.
the bracers and her circlet are appear to be a bluish silver and black.
Okay. Like, does the chair have like arms on it?
Yeah, it's like a nice little comfy armchair to sit in.
Yeah. So instead of sitting normally, I just like turn off to the side, so like my ass is in the chair, my feet hang over one arm, and like I'm just leaning back on the other. It's like, sup?
She's like, "Sup?" She's like, "Well, dearie," and then she closes the door. And she's like, "My name is Andraste," and then off to the side you hear, "Is that any way to sit?" And then you look over, and sitting at this desk is an angel. Quite literally an angel. Blonde hair, large wing, very large. Angels are huge. So she's like about 7 foot tall. You could tell if you were to gather. She's got blue and white robes on, and she's got bracers and greaves on. She's sitting at a table, and she has those half glasses for reading on,
Yep,
and
yep,
she's
yep.
got a folder open, and she's going through the paperwork, and she's like, quite a party animal, huh?
I wouldn't call myself an animal, but yeah. By
She's
the way,
like,
like, what kind of angel needs glasses? I thought y'all were supposed to be like made by God, so like shiny and bright stuff.
she's like, I've been an angel for quite some time, and it hurts my eyes to read for a long period of time. The glasses help.
Old angel. Gotcha. No judge, no judge. They look good on you. You pull it off. That's a good look for
She
you.
does actually. I mean, she's an angel. For the most part, she has perfectly feminine figure because she's an angel.
Right.
She's just, she's got half glasses on. She's reading, and she's like, but angels here aren't 100% perfect.
Hmm.
Perfect isn't a acquirable trait. We've learned that after our long years.
I, Perfect's overrated. That just makes everybody too cocky,
Yes,
in not a good way.
I would have to agree on that one. Only some of my fellow angels would agree on that as well.
Alright,
And then, by the way, Andraste, when she said, "Welcome, dearie, please sit down," she was the voice that sighed.
uh, she was. I recognized the voice that was inside my head.
Yeah, and she's like, "So, I'm sorry for tugging on you so hard, but you did resist. It makes it much more harder."
Well, I'm not used to people tugging on my head from
She,
outside the
she
room.
basically goes over your last 3 months of activity in Theros, and she's like, You're not a bad person, but you're not necessarily a good person." She kind of like throws the book at you. She gives you the laws of the land, the do's and the don'ts, the how not to end up in jail, and it's mostly pretty standard stuff. And
The
she
gnat abides.
the gnat
Sorry.
abides. Yeah, you're listening in, and
Mhm.
they're talking about the do's and the don'ts, and they talk about since you're a planeswalker, she's like you know uh, be careful. She's like, you can leave at any time after you've been checked in, and just keep sure you keep this on you. And she kind of goes over the like, it'll cost you about 200 gold in Therosian money to get a replacement
Mm.
badge if you lose it. It's like, so don't lose it. They're not cheap to make. Um, The angel, a loon, hands Andraste this little ball. Andraste picks up the ball. She, I need you to sit up properly in the chair, dearie.
What is Andraste, anyways? As I stare at her, just a pale-skinned person?
She's. I don't think there are vampires on or Theros. Well, Strahd or not Strahd, fucking Soren visited Theros, so
I don't think I would have met him personally.
you might have heard tales of Soren, the vampire, visiting Theros, and how he was pale of skin and had fangs and bright red eyes. Of course, this
She has fangs, and she's got one bright red eye and one blue eye, and she's pale skin.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a vampire, but you know, like your character's kind of like, that's interesting.
I'll look at her and be like, honey, I think they're working you too hard. It looks like you need to get a little sun.
She's like, oh, I don't tan, unfortunately.
Ooh. I hear if you use, like, certain lotions with a little bit of zinc in them, you won't burn that bad.
She's like, oh, I don't burn, I just don't tan. She's like, that's a misconception. She's like, a lot of people seem to think that I'll burn if I go out in the sun. Must be dreadful for others of my kind in other realms.
Yeah, like,
if you're wondering,
as pale as you are, like,
she's like, no,
you just sunburn instantly.
She's like, I don't sunburn. I wish I could get a tan. And then she looks at a loon. Don't you think I did lovely with a tan, a few shades darker? And then a loon's like, doesn't say anything, but slightly blushes and is like, she's like, stop it and let's finish this job so we could get out of here for the day.
Okay.
And then
oh wait, so you ladies are done after this?
Oh no, we've got a couple more people. And then after that, well, after we get done here, we will take you to a room, and we'll give everyone that we've done today, and we'll do groups of 30 at a time. You're like number 26. After that, that'll be our third batch of 30 today. We've done about 90 people today. She's like, that'll be it for us, and then it'll be the end of our shift. Then we can go on our free time.
So, that's like what, an hour from now? Half an hour from now?
Yeah, about that much. It shouldn't take too much longer. She's like,
what?
Like I said, I need you to sit up straight. She's like, you can get drinks while you're in the lobby.
No, I mean, let us, three of us, be friends. After this, get drinks. You guys can tell me more about this place, and like.
She's like, I'm sure you can ask anyone else. She's like, me and a loon have plans after this, unfortunately. She's like, I do need you to sit up straight in the chair, dearie.
Alright, fine. I gotta swing over, like, do the little groan a little bit. What's the blue thing gonna do to me?
She holds the ball out, she, like, clicks it, and lets go of it. It makes about 2 inches of a drop before little wings sprout out, kind of like the Snitch from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But it flies over to you, gives, like, a quick flash, then flies back to Andraste. She hits a button on it, and she hands it to a loon. The loon puts it out on a piece of paper and hits the button, and you watch it as it like goes to work on this little piece of paper. Remember those paintings I described earlier? It makes one of those. It looks almost exactly like you, but it's made out of paint.
Can they catch me in like a kind of awkward, like, what is this face like?
No, it does you as if you were just not like 100% smiling. Like you weren't smiling when it flashed. You were kind of like, whoa, what was that? But like it does a picture of like you as if you were smiling.
Okay.
So like, it's obviously some magic's involved here.
Obviously.
And then she like flaps the paper like twice to make sure it's nice and dry. Puts it in this folder, closes the folder, seals it with a little magical circle. She looks over to you and points. A little magical circle appears around her hand, the angel. And then the badge on your chest glows, and it's got your face on it. And underneath it, it's got your name. And occupation for you is like adventurer, or because that's kind of what you wear. She's like, that fits your occupation better. than anything else we could come up with. She's like, as a party animal, there's not quite that many occupations of those.
You could done like what is it, planner, like what do they call it,
Caterer.
like the party planners basically, but
Yeah, I
they
know
have a
what you mean.
fancier word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then your character hasn't even asked how to teleport yet, but everyone else asked how do they do that. You know, I've had to tell them that they'd have to ask another planeswalker.
I just assume I can tell. Like it's like, yeah, I can teleport. I've always been able to, or not always, but I figured this out months ago.
You still haven't completely grasped the concept. You've kind of grasped the concept. You're not in Kansas, but you don't quite understand the fact you're like on a completely different plane of existence.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe I just teleported further than I thought. Like maybe I'm on a different continent. It's Atlantis. That's what this is. It's Atlantis, the lost city. I was like,
yeah,
all
so
right,
you're a little off on that. But they give you one more quick rundown. They say just when you go back out, follow the arrows back around, and they'll bring you out to a smaller lobby. And there you can get some drinks if you want, while you wait for the last few people to get done.
Okay. Are there any like specific rules like that? Like she kind of went over that was like, specifically don't mess with these people, or like, I don't know, don't do drugs, can't worship certain people, or is it just like be nice to each other type rules?
She's like, unfortunately, she's like, there are a few things in some of the guilds that I would avoid you doing, as even though they're, well, publicly knowledge known as standard practices, they are considered illegal in terms of the law. If you're caught doing those, certain things, she kind of goes over like, if you volunteer in one of the Rakdos cult sacrifices, and you actually, or you're one of the people sacrificing the persons in the sacrifice thing, and that sometimes those people are willing sacrifices, sometimes they're not. If they happen to be in a situation where they're not, then that's an illegal gathering, and everyone there is a conspirator and murder. She kind of goes over some situations similar to that. She's like, another good example would be the Demir trade in knowledge and secrets. And if you do encounter them and they ask you for espionage can be a crime depending on how it is. For example, if you break and entering and find someone's stuff in their private quarters, well, obviously that's illegal. If you just hear them talking about something out in the street, we can't really press charges on that.
Is there anything specific with the Selesnya people that were like, don't pluck flowers or anything like that?
Yeah, they kind of don't like it when you pluck your flowers. They do tend to, but you're not gonna like be arrested on the spot. You'd probably be scolded.
Okay.
She just kind of goes over, don't steal, don't kill, don't attack people just because they're different. And she goes into very different people talking about, if you're in the Golgari, don't attack the Gorgons, don't attack the undead.
You're talking like Medusas?
Yep.
Don't attack zombies?
It depends. If the zombies are attacking you, you have free reign. If they're not attacking you, do not attack them.
Different. Okay. I always thought zombies were generally dumb, mindless things that nobody cared about, but okay. Do you guys have, I don't know, hags, witches here?
She's like, yes and no. She says that as she like waves her hand to kind of see what you're talking about. And of course you're talking about the D&D hags and witches. She's like, well, there are some practitioners of the dark arts in certain locations that do use a bubbling cauldron and more natural ingredients for their concoctions. She's like, the ones that steal souls and sell them to devils, she's like, I'm not quite sure we have any of those. And if they did, they would probably be in the Rakdos, and they would probably offer contracts that would be legally binding.
Okay. All right. I dig. Telling you though, if not tonight, because you guys have plans, we should definitely hang. I'm a pretty cool guy. You seem like a cool girl. Love the glasses on you.
She's like, I only really wear them when I'm reading, but thank you for the compliment.
And I'll walk out if they have nothing else for me.
Yep, they walk out, and you. Like I said, the arrows that led you here have now changed direction and lead you out into a smaller lobby with circular tables and
As I'm
the
walking out,
gentleman.
that's a neat trick too.
What, the arrows changing location?
Yeah, just the arrows changing directions. That's pretty cool too, right here. Walk out.
And you get to the end of the lobby, and the gentleman sitting there is just like, pick a seat, and there's a bunch of empty seats. You can the gentleman Yoshi from earlier is sitting in one seat, and Sean the bard that we were playing with the other is sitting in his own seat as well.
Is there anything towards the back?
The back has a few people already taking up the back, but there's a couple spaces open in the back if you want to sit
even
alone.
better. Is there a seat that has an empty seat in front of it?
You mean like someone is sitting there and then across from them is an empty seat?
Well, no, like, okay, so I'm assuming there's like rows of chairs, right?
No, it's more like a bunch of, like, you go to a restaurant where there's a bunch of little circular tables where people can sit at. Like 4 people can sit at each table. There's a bunch of these little tables spread out in almost like a lobby / restaurant area.
All right, then I'll go sit with the jam man himself, Sean.
Right. Sit with Sean, and then Sean is sitting there. I don't remember what he was drinking, but he was eating food and drinking because the man was hungry.
I'll whisper to him, "Hey, got any of that, like, that stuff that gives you, like, inspiration?"
Again, I can't speak for Sean, but I can most definitely ask him that you and him, next time y'all talk to each other, you could be like, I totally asked your character if you had weed.
Drugs is he's a musician. Why wouldn't musicians have drugs?
And basically a waiter will come up and ask you what your order is, and he'll give you a menu that you can read, and it'll have like list of beers and wines and food and.
I will pick probably the best looking, like the most expensive looking stuff, as long as it's not charged to me.
Oh no, it's all free. Oh, and also I forgot that Alun and Andraste explained that your first 7 days of lodging in the hotel are free. After that, you pay your own way, and that there is a money transfer system that transfers your money over into the currency of Ravnica.
I would like to order the most decadent stuff they have.
Mm-hmm.
The best wine, the greatest steak, or whatever that is just.
Gotcha. So you pick the two most expensive things on there, looking like the most pricey things on there, and he'll be like, I'll be right with you. And then about 15 minutes later, they come out, they come out with your nice whole bottle of wine. They give you a whole bottle of this shit of wine.
Yeah.
And then depending on whether or not you like your wine chilled or depending on which type, Cody fucking schooled me on whether or not wine needed to be chilled or not. And I don't know. I've never drunk wine. I always see it like in chilled stuff on TV.
I don't think if it's a red wine, I don't think you have to chill it. I don't know.
God, let go of my pant leg.
Like if they go to like pour it into the cup, I'm just like, you don't need to do that. I'll just take the bottle from them and sip on it.
Sounds good. And then after about 10 more minutes go by, he'll bring out your food, and this is basically where session 0 ends out. Everyone's going to be here in this little lobby for their last hurrah on what to do and not to do in Ravnica.
Okay.
Your character was pretty much drunk for the sobering up and the carriage ride over. Normally I had everyone walk over so that I could explore more of the city. You missed the part where it went from like nature to holy shit, that's a lot of buildings.
I think it's a general theme of my characters. All my characters hate to walk because I have so much experience playing gnomes. I'm always carried by someone.
But your character was like blackout drunk, so I was like, she's like, he's not sober yet. Sure, carriage.
I think
Cause
it's
I
just
was
like a
like, I was
general
thinking
theme of
Aura would
every one
just
of
be
my
like,
characters.
fuck it, yeah, we'll get a carriage.
Yeah. Just my general theme is, oh yeah, I don't like walking places.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
this is where I ask you, how'd you like it? How was it fun? Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. It was pretty good, man. It's pretty good.
Yeah, like I said, serious, just basically RP here for the most part.
Yep. I figured out that I actually already named the Dryad.
Oh,
As I was rereading my backstory from like a month ago, I was like, oh, I named her Tink.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I was
Whatever.
like,
She
okay.
looks. Anyways, the Zinnia looks almost exactly like Tink.
Okay.
Like, except like I'd say Tink was more of a spring dryad, so she had like more springy colors in her hair, whereas
Mhm.
Zinnia is more of an autumn dryad, so she has brownish red hair.
Okay. But yeah, I liked it. It was interesting. Hitting up teenagers for drugs.
Yeah,
and
I was
stuff.
just like, you know what? Fuck it. I like the idea that you hit up the best man for drugs, and I'm like, you know what? The best man was gonna be the dude's brother, and I'm like, I already told you his brother is younger than him. Fuck it, yeah,
Let's go.
let's roll with it.
So yeah, okay. Yeah, I liked it. It gave me a good feel of kind of how my character's gonna be.
Yeah,
Right? Not like always wanting to talk to people and always just chill.
yeah. All right, we'll give me 1 second here, and we'll stop the recording. That'll end this session here.